How do we live in this higher state? How do we continually shift our vibration or even get to a place where we don't need to shift our vibration daily because we kind of start in this steady state? We have to do something very rebellious. In a pinch or in a bind, of course, we do heart coherence, and we can do heart coherence to help in certain situations, but there's something deeper that needs to happen. We need to start to take care of ourselves recklessly. We have to listen to ourselves, to our inner voice, unabashedly. Unabashedly. We have to honor our bodies. This could be as simple as, not waiting when you have to go pee. Just go when you need to go. That's a great practice, actually, to start to shift towards centering your body. When we have been sitting too long and our leg starts to hurt, we actually get up. We stretch our legs instead of grunting through, as we often do. These little micro moments start to shift our life in the right direction. So this is not how society is organized, right? We live and have been raised in a patriarchal, hierarchical society that glorifies self-sacrifice. Tough it out, stiff upper lip, push through, whether that's for your job, your partner, your children, the mother who wants to put her children first and is honored for that. That's so, so deep in our patriarchal culture, and it creates problems. We've put this self-sacrifice on a pedestal, and this has led to an epidemic of burnout, depression, suicide, you name it. So, I can speak from the perspective of being a woman and feeling that we do very much tend to overgive. Many mothers especially wake up and are immediately looking for what we can respond to. Who needs us? How can I help? Who needs to eat? What should I make? Who needs a sounding board for a problem? And, we let that dictate our day versus coming into the day with our plan, our vision, our needs. And then we are proud of ourselves for constantly being in a state of giving and service until, we're bitter. We walk around depleted. We walk around angry. We don't want to have sex. We are unbalanced because we are not giving the same level of care and attention to ourselves that we are giving to others. So I want to take you through a little example right now of how I recalibrated after I had kind of let inertia get me into a bad state earlier this week. So on Monday, I was feeling incredibly tired because I hadn't taken care of myself. I hadn't been sleeping well. I was cranky, okay? In a best case scenario, I would have stopped there, okay? I would have noticed what was going on in my body. I would have pressed pause on the day. I would have reorganized things. I would have carved out some time to fill my cup. Maybe started work later, maybe gone to an extra long yoga class, whatever I needed at that time, but I didn't, okay? I let my patriarchal programming override that feeling, and so I pushed through. I forced myself through the day, and I felt miserable. And my heart actually ached a little bit. And in the evening, I was just so down. And Blair, I don't even know what he said. It was the smallest thing, probably about something in the kitchen. And I just had no resilience. It completely set me off. I was very triggered. And thankfully, here's when I caught myself. All right. Instead of getting into a triggered fight or a yelling match or, that kind of thing, which is never fruitful, that's when I pressed timeout. I felt uncontrollable triggered feeling in my body. So I pressed timeout. I removed myself from the situation. I take responsibility for my energy. Take responsibility. It's not Blair's fault that I'm acting that way. He may have said something, insensitive, or it may have even not been insensitive. I don't remember, but I had imbued my energy to handle what life was throwing at me. So it was time to go do that. So I wanted to be responsible for the feelings that were bubbling up. And what I like to be in the practice of doing when I'm feeling that way, when I'm feeling down, is ask myself, how can I give myself more love? How can I give myself more love? This was a paradigm shift for me, a huge, huge shift. Because what I used to do is I would be upset And I would be mad at myself for being upset. I would start to tell a story about why I was upset. I'd start to tell stories like, there's something really wrong with my family. There's something wrong with the people around me. They've wronged me. Something needs to be fixed. Why do I feel this way? I need to be stronger. I would beat myself up. I was flagellating myself and also telling false stories, false narratives about my circumstances. So now it's been so game-changing to just realize that I'm off and ask, how can I give myself more love? And so that's what I did in this scenario. I went to my room and asked, how can I give myself more love? And the first thing I did was I hugged myself. I hugged myself the way that I wanted my mother to hug me when I was feeling this way when I was little. I hugged myself and told myself, I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. This is so powerful. It feels so new agey and off at first, but learning to really hug yourself and shower yourself with words like, I love you. I accept you. I respect you. Even as I'm saying them now, I can feel the cells in my body shifting. I can feel the energy in my body realigning. Words are spells. Words are powerful. So when you are feeling down, give yourself positive words, nourish yourself with positive words, and hug yourself. Practice it. So after this, I gave myself the space to journal. So I wrote out the story. I wrote out everything that was scrambling around and making me feel crazy. It's so helpful to write out the story so that you can just kind of vomit it out, get it on paper so you can see it. This gives you distance from it, both physically and metaphysically. And then you can look at the story, breathe a sigh of relief. What's true here? What's true here? And what's just a story? And most times, 9 times out of 10, just that act of writing creates clarity. It might create an aha moment. It might help me, understand my next best step. But you want to express until you feel more even, until you don't feel so triggered. So sometimes this takes a long time. You write until you don't feel triggered, until the intensity of the emotion leaves your body. So hand in hand with this, what also helps for that emotion, that trigger to process, is to let yourself feel whatever's coming up for you, whether that's rage, whether that's sadness, cry. Let the emotions express. Please do not stuff them away. By now, you've put yourself away in a room. You've created the space. So allow yourself to express what you need to express, and don't tell a story about it. Let the triggered response express through your body so that you can release it, so that you don't carry it into your day, and so that you can have more clarity about your experience. All right. So love yourself while you're crying. Love yourself while you're screaming. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a normal human emotion that society has shamed. And we don't have to take on the belief system of society anymore, because look where that's gotten us. So after I felt a release, after feeling the emotion and writing out the emotion and hugging myself, giving myself love. Sometimes here I like to do a heart coherence meditation, think about what I'm grateful for, to get myself back into a state of empowerment. So in this instance, I went back and I really felt like I needed a hug. For me, I have a human design touch sensation, and we'll talk about human design in another module, but I really need a hug or physical touch to feel a sense of closure. So I used to, again, tell a story. Like I would come back into the kitchen and I would really want Blair to hug me, but I wouldn't ask for it. And I would think, he's my husband. He should know to hug me. He should know that's what I need. And the reality is, no, he's not a mind reader. There's no way for him to know what I need unless I tell him what I need. So I've learned, it's gotten very used to me, just saying I need a hug, or even not just going up and giving him a hug, initiating what I need. And he always reciprocates. And so I've learned to ask for what I need in these situations. And with that, I open up myself up to the possibility of connection, right? Again, how powerful is that? Do you see the power that's coming back? So the next morning I took this further and I still felt like that aching feeling in my heart. And I've gotten really good at feeling when things are out of alignment for me. So I did something unconventional. I did something rebellious. I put a notice on my Slack and I told work that I wasn't feeling well and I needed to come in at noon. And it's not, and in the grand scheme of things, that's not a big deal. But sometimes in our heads, those little things are a big deal. But I took a stand for myself. I gave myself space to just be. I needed to move slowly. I needed to just have a relaxed morning. And so I gave that to myself. And guess what? I recalibrated. I started to feel that spark of joy come. I had some space in my day. And I started to come back to me, to my higher state. So that is a story of, catching yourself after you've kind of let yourself slide and recalibrating back from a trigger. In the next video, we're going to talk about practices that you can engage with on a continual basis so that you avoid getting to that state. So I'll see you there.